Hey everyone, thank you for joining the Missing Piece Alliance group 10:30 Wednesday Zoom meeting. Today is 12th of March. It feels like it's, I don't know, December. And talking to agents all over, which is what we all do, we're finding out that everybody, or a lot of people, are having similar issues, and we're all collaborating together to try to come up with the best scenario. So let me just frame this for you real quick, and then I am going to let Tina take it away because this is what, fortunately for all of us, and again, Tina's 3 hours behind, so I really appreciate you. I should like send you super coffee or something. It's for getting up so early. But anytime I need to figure out how to frame something, Tina is the one um, that I go to. She just thinks of things, from a completely different perspective, um, when my hair's on fire. So this is the third listing I've had. And as you all know, I've done this for a long time, blah, blah. But um, I'm having trouble pricing listings. And out here, Ed can probably vouch, Loxahatchee, things are moving and there's not a lot of inventory. So here's the weird thing. You have sellers, we have to find their motivation because if they don't necessarily have to sell, you have sellers that are sitting on 2.75 interest rates. So they're okay with pricing their homes and having them sit on the market a little higher. Buyers are coming in and they're facing now, I think it's 6.5 roughly, under 7 interest rates, which they're slowly starting to understand is I don't like it, everyone says the new norm. But they can't buy as much house as they used to, and their buying power has diminished. Then when the market, I always say the market's backwards. I like it when, it is what it is. But when each house sells higher than the next, I like that market. This market to me is backwards, where I can get an appraisal on this particular listing that we're going to use as an example today. I think it would probably appraise for 910. I'm really good at that. We listed it at 899, and which having 26 showings with Marjalisa is actually amazing. And I'll put it in the chat after if someone will remind me. There's a few of you that don't have Tina's surveys that we use at open houses. It's based on a scale of 1 to 5. People give me the listing 5 out of 5 on price. They walk into this home and tell me it is stunning. It's gorgeous. It's this, it's that. And yes, I've called everyone back. Some people have a house to sell. Some people didn't know how much it was because I put out about 16, 17 open house signs. So they just came from the signs. Other people they're just waiting, and they know if they wait, it's not that big a deal. Although you guys know what I always say, as soon as you like something, so does somebody else. So I had the conversation with the seller and they were completely on board with me for lowering it to 875. Somebody else indicated to me that they don't think 875 is a big enough, jump. But so I called Tina and I'm like, look, Tina, we're all very frustrated because, I've gotten over houses not selling and it being my fault. It's not my fault, especially on this one. I've really done everything there is to do, and I'm super communicative with the seller. So they're not mad they're not mad at me. That's my goal, not to have the sellers ever call me for a question or ever be mad at me. But what do I do now? And how do I go to my next listing appointment when I know the house is going to be worth, we can use it again, 899, but I know it's not going to sell at 899. So how do you do this? What do you say to sellers? So Tina, that's the question we all have. Michelle and I discussed this yesterday too. Marjalisa, all of us. So take it away.
Okay, I want to back up a little bit though. So when I'm talking to sellers initially, right now, first of all, I want to emphasize something that Sherry said. Sales is always emotion backed by logic. So you have to dive into what their emotional reasons are as to why they want to sell. If you don't find out those emotional who, what, where, why reasons, then it makes your job a lot more difficult throughout the entire transaction. So I cannot stress that enough. Now, once you've identified their emotional reason why and their end game, so once you sell it, where are they going? What's the plan? Because that's all tied into their emotional reasons why. It makes these conversations a lot easier down the road. Also, when I'm doing a listing presentation, right now, we're in that market that we saw in like 2008, 2009, where sellers are completely unrealistic. Buyers are very, very savvy. All buyers want a good deal right now. They don't want to pay top dollar for anything. So, what I have to emphasize to my sellers is listen, yes, your home, your property is probably worth $899, absolutely all day long on paper, but that doesn't mean that's what it's worth to consumers today. Your property is only worth what consumers are willing to pay. So if they are dead set, they want to try a higher price, you're like, I think we can price it here, go ahead and price it there, but you're going to set the expectation up front with them. Listen, yes, we can list it at that because the numbers are showing that we can. But at the end of the day, if that's not what consumers are willing to pay, that's not what it's going to sell for. Okay, so that's all an upfront conversation. I also like to throw in third-party stories up front, and I'll give you guys a couple of those. Recently, I had a listing presentation with one of my agents. Prices have come down in a lot of markets. They've definitely come down in different pockets of the Phoenix, Scottsdale market. I'm sure there's different pockets in your area where prices have come down as well. I know we're all from all different places. And if you're in a market where they haven't come down at all, you still need to preface this. Listen, I can tell you what your property is worth today. I really want you guys to practice this, okay, because it comes off really strong. I can tell you what your property is worth today. I can't promise you that it's going to be worth that a month from now or 2 months from now. So we're going to price it today what I believe it should be priced at. But at any point, if anything else sells in the neighborhood for less that's comparable to your property, we're going to have to revisit that. And then I give a third party example. I'm like, listen, I recently had some sellers that waited 6 months to sell their property. We finally got it on the market. By the time we got it on the market, it was worth $40,000 less than 6 months prior. Now, we went under contract within 10 days of going on the market because we priced it according to what it should be priced at today. By the time the appraisal was done, another home sold down the neighborhood that was sold for $20,000 less. It was exactly in the same condition as my seller's property. We had to also renegotiate that price again at the end because that home sold. So again, I can tell you what it's worth today, but I can't tell you what it's going to be worth a month from now or 2 months from now. And then you shut your mouth and you let them talk. Now, that's really hard for realtors to shut your mouth. You keep selling and selling and selling and selling, but you need to shut your mouth and you need to get their thoughts on what you just said. Now, I am a very interactive trainer, okay? When you guys hear how I just positioned this listing, which is what I do on every single listing, what did I do to their brain? What did I prepare them for?
Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario. I also created urgency in them. Urgency is the key in sales. Okay. So if I'm creating urgency up front by telling them that I can tell them what their property is worth today, but I can't tell them what it's going to be worth a month from now or 2 months from now. I created a sense of urgency in their mind that if it doesn't sell in a month, holy crap, it might be worth less than. and it's going to keep being worth less. Guys, I never have a problem with sellers arguing with me on what their property is worth after I set a listing appointment up this way, where I'm already in their head, letting them know that time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. The longer it sits, I can't tell you what it's going to be worth, but I'm not saying it that way. Saying it, I can tell you what it's worth today, but I can't promise you it'll be worth that a month from now. So I'm already setting that stage. Then I'm going to go in, and right now I'm only talking about when you're setting up your listing, when you're narrowing down the price. Okay. Then we're going to go to, if you already have it listed and we need to lower the price, how do you have that conversation? Okay. So right now, when I'm presenting the prices, what I want to list it at, I'm going to say to them, and I want you guys to really pay attention to this framing, because everything we say matters, but also in the order we say it in. And again, I can't stress that enough. Okay. So I can tell them, like with Sherry's listing, I could have said to them, okay, so based on the conversation that we've had, based on me understanding your end game and where you want to go and why, when all of this is said and done, we can absolutely list it at the $8.99, understanding that consumers are savvy right now and they want a good deal. So at $8.99, we're probably not going to get as many showings, which means we're probably not going to get as many potential offers, because the more people we can get in the door, the bigger chance we have of getting an offer. So yes, we can list it at $8.99 if you're okay with sitting on the property for a while. And if you're okay with the likelihood that we may need to lower the price down the road. Or we can list it here at $8.75 and have a greater opportunity of getting people in the door, therefore getting a greater opportunity of getting it sold before prices go down any further. Which one would you like to do? Okay, so you always present the one you don't want them to take first. And then you present the one you do want them to take with your argument in the middle. I am a big proponent right now of listing properties for less than what I can list them for. So I've got to do everything in my power to get my sellers to understand the urgency of why we're doing it that way. Then I'm going to throw in another third-party story. I'm going to say, so listen, the reason that I'm thinking that we need to go with the second option, if they don't say anything, is because right now, many of our sellers are sitting on the market for a little while, the average being whatever your average is in your market, okay? And people are getting desperate, so they're lowering their prices, which hurts your position. And what I have found this year is that a seller who lists higher is constantly chasing the market and continuing to lower the price, never being priced right where the consumer wants it to be because they didn't do it from the beginning. And I don't want that to be you. You've expressed to me the importance of why you want to sell, and I understand. And that's where you go into your empathy mode. You have expressed the reason you want to sell, and I understand that this is important to you. I want to give you your best chance of getting to that end game. That's why I'm recommending we go here. Now I'm going to stop for a minute and you guys can ask me anything you want. Oh, and by the way, you never lose eye contact when you're presenting any of that. Notice I stared right at you guys. The guys are killing me on here. I love you guys.
No, that was good. That was good. Good job. I love that. Thank you.
No, it's
Okay.
true. It's very good, reasonable information there. It's really good psychological stuff. I mean, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but here's my question though.
Hold on. So Sherry will tell you guys that what I teach is the psychology of sales.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what I teach. So I teach people how to get into their client and customers' heads to get them out of their own way. That's the goal. So Sherry, go ahead.
That's the key though, that little bottom part. Your house is worth 900,000, but we're gonna go in at 875. I would be like, no, let's you because they think, and me having just tried to sell my own property, which again is an accident waiting to happen. So I learned again not to do my own listings, my own homes. I put it on the market thinking, well, there could be that one person. What if there's that one person who walks into my house and thinks it's beautiful and wants to pay what I'm asking? Like fear of missing out. I'm afraid. And that's the reaction, or I'm projecting onto the seller that they, oh, stop, that they, that they're going to think, you're telling me it's 8.99, but what if somebody walks in and pays 8.99? Why would I start at 8.75? Give me the reasoning. Why?
So stop for just a second. You hit it right on the head. That's how you would feel. It's not your house. It's not your end game. Stop projecting how you guys would feel about it onto the people that you're talking to. Because let me show you the difference in that, Sherry. Okay. So if I went to them and I said exactly the same thing, but watch my face. Okay. If I said, well, we could list it at $8.99 because that's what it's worth according to all of the numbers. We may not get as many showings, but we could have that one person that really loves it. Or we could list it at 875, where we would probably get a lot more showings and probably get offers. Do you see my face? I'm projecting my thought process and how I would feel onto them.
I see. Yeah, I was like, that's backwards. Oh, okay. That was on purpose. So I get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because that's what we do as agents, right? Just like when we're working with buyers and they're like, well, what do you think I should offer? And we start projecting our opinions onto what they should offer, not as the expert, but because we don't want them to pay too much, because we wouldn't want to pay too much, or we want closing costs. We would want closing costs. So we want them to ask for closing costs. It's not your money. It's not your house. It's not your end game. So stop projecting how you feel onto them. You want to present the facts. You are the consultant. You are the one who is there to be performance driven and sell their property. That's your job. So you're going to present the facts. Now, right now, if you know that many of the homes are just sitting there because consumers are not willing to pay what they're worth, why would you not emphasize that to your seller? That's your job to present the facts, to let them make an educated choice for themselves. Sherry?
Yes. So here's the excuses. I took the listing in October, and they, like I always tell you guys, get the listing agreement signed, even if it's not ready to go on the market. Remember, because someone else is going to come in behind you, say something which they think is better, and take the listing away. So I took it in October. And they just kept doing more stuff. And then they said to me, well, it's Christmas. The kids, they want to have one more Christmas. They didn't realize it was the last Christmas. I didn't care because I had the listing. Okay. So in January, they were getting ready. And what we were doing is they wanted the fifth bedroom. They wanted to put a window in, which was already permitted. So it's a real fifth bedroom. They gave me a choice: get rid of the carpeting in the bedroom or put a fifth window. I said, put a window in the bedroom, like make it a true bedroom. So that's what they did. Now it's a true 5 bedroom. And when I came the day before the photo, she was on her hands and knees scrubbing with the toothbrush the grout. and I'll show you the picture. She's just nuts. That's why she postponed it. So I originally was going to list it for 850 in October, which by then it was probably worth like 830 or so. So then I took a survey of local realtors. I looked around. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. I didn't go back as far as I did. So think about it. If it was January and I went back 3 months, then things were closing at that price. So I was like, awesome. Okay, I see enough, Now I look back and I did a tighter CMA, and I have it pulled up. I did it only like a month ago. Everybody listed, I didn't list till February, go on the MLS. And here's the irony. So did like 3 or 4 other people. We all listed the first week of February, same size house, blah, blah, blah. We're all at the same price. We're all just sitting there. But the phenomenon, Tina, that the sellers don't understand, the owner, again, they said right away, yes, lower it to 8. We had a conversation, it went well. That's not what this is about. They went to 875. He said to me, he's like, well, maybe Sherry, when people come in, are you allowed to say to them? And I said, I'm allowed to say, remember this, guys, you're allowed to say whatever the seller authorizes you to say. Okay, we're not single agents in Florida. Some of you, I don't think anybody's from another state right now, other than you, Tina. We're transaction brokers, so we represent the transactions. But if the seller says you can say something, you can say something. You could tell their motivations. So he said to me, are you allowed to say, make an offer? The sellers are motivated. I said, Joe, I'm allowed to say whatever you want me to say. I do say things like that diplomatically. I'm like, well, make an offer. You never know what the seller is going to take, and people usually write when. I told him, I said, nobody has even asked me what you would take. That conversation has never even existed. They come in the house, they love the house, they say it's priced right, they walk out, I follow up, and whatever. There's 50,000 reasons why they don't want it. Nothing I can do. So, Tina,
Let
so
me ask
now
you a question. With the other
yeah,
3 or 4 that are on the market that came on the market simultaneously, are they exactly the same as yours
let's take a
in
look.
condition?
No, mine's actually the best. So a lot of people that are on here have seen this because we've used my listing as a great example of everything you're supposed to have. Every single thing, I did not put this picture on the MLS, just so you all know. Um, everything in the home is brand new. I mean, the kitchen,
That's a nice
it's
one.
it is stunning. And this little passageway here is the house used to end here. This whole part of the back looks like, I'll show you, like everyone says wherever they're from, it looks like Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. It's got a fireplace. And here is another 2 bedrooms and bathrooms. So someone suggested that I put in the comment section of the MLS, rear of the house can be used as an in-law guest, has its own private entrance, because people who were picking not my house were looking for in-law quarters. But everybody who came to the house said, oh, we could put my father-in-law back here, we can put my kids back here, we could put, like, they were telling me who they could put. So that's the living area. So okay, so you get the idea. The house is stunning.
Do the other homes have that suite in the back?
So one of them that I was just competing with on Friday, it was literally between my house and someone else's. It was a uh, a 3-2, and they were going to put the father-in-law in the back, but it had just a few different things than the house was newer than mine. And I said, yeah, but everything in here is brand new. The roof is new. Everything's new. I mean, this is Loxahatchee, Tina, just so you know. No, I know you were here.
Yeah,
But let me show you.
lots of land.
Yeah, so let me show you what I sent them. So this now is kind of obvious to me, but it wasn't this way when I took the listing. So this house, so my house, just so you guys know, is 2,800 square feet. And it's a 5.3. It's a 5.3, right, Marjalisa? I don't know why I just had a blank. One, two,
It's a
three.
5.3.
Yeah, it's a 5.3. So this one, I have to go into it to see how many days it's been on the market. So we've got one active at 900. This one is pending. It's a 4.3. This one's active, probably very similar to mine. This one closed at 8:30, 8:09, 8:29. Do you see the trend here? 889's on the market, 900's on the market, 799, 920. They just gave up, and this is 899.
Okay,
So
so based on your comps, based on what you're showing here, anything under 850 is selling.
yeah.
Actually, more like 825, 830. But anything under 850 is selling. And anything over 850 in your neighborhood is not right now.
Tina, it's
What?
worth 900.
To you, to an appraiser, obviously in that neighborhood, not to a consumer.
So
The
let's
consumers are telling you everything you need to know. They are looking at homes in that neighborhood under 850. They might be looking at all of them, but they're buying the ones under 850 right now. And guys, in a market where our interest rates are at 6.5%,
just not bad anymore.
yeah, but $50,000 is a huge difference to them in that interest rate. To us, we know it's not, but in their mind it is. So I need you to take that into consideration too. So what I would do in this scenario is I would go whenever, first of all, let me preface this. I teach my agents in coaching and on my teams this, okay? Every month, you should be looking at the comps for your listings. You should be knowing exactly what's going under contract. You should be seeing the trends of what consumers are looking for in that particular neighborhood. And you can tell that by what they're actually putting under contract. So every month I like to have a conversation with my sellers and say, okay, I just pulled the recent comps. I want to know what's going on in the neighborhood. Let me give you the update of what's going on right now. So it appears that consumers that are interested in your neighborhood are putting the ones under contract under this price point. Anything over that price point is still on the market. So what does that say to you, Mr. Seller? I put it back on that. What does that say to you? Because that's the other thing we do as agents. We start telling them what to think and how to feel. We don't actually ask them, what are your thoughts on that? What does that tell you? We start telling them. Why? Again, not your house, not your money. Okay, so I would be going in and I would be having a very educated conversation with that seller at that point. I would say, okay, so here we are. Here's everything that's been on the market while we've been on the market. Everything that's in your price point is still sitting there. Everything under this price point has gone under contract or closed. What does that tell you, Mr. Seller? What do you think we need to do? What are the consumers telling us?
And that's in the same vein when you're taking the listing and you're showing them. I don't come with a spreadsheet and all that stuff. That's not my personality, but I do have comps pulled up.
Mhm.
And I say, an agent and I went to do a co-listing and she wouldn't even, the owner said to us, yeah, the other realtor that we interviewed was so mean. She wouldn't even touch our furniture or sit down. And the other agent and I looked at each other, we're like, how do you not see what we see? So we showed them the other comps. I said, does your home look like this? They said no. I said, does your home look like this? And I'm going down in level. And then I said, does your home look like that? And they go, well, kind of. And they go, but people don't live in those houses. They're too clean. I'm like, no, sweetheart. People, that's how real people, I didn't say nothing. I'm like, that's how non-hoarders don't. It was nasty. But she even saw what I was showing her. Miriam.
Yes. I just wanted to, and I don't want to sidetrack too much off of your conversation, Sherry, but maybe getting into the pushing more into psychological work might give us a clue into your thing as well. I just wanted to take this opportunity to ask you, Tina. I'm working with a investor who targets, for pre-foreclosures, right? And we're
My background, by the way.
Oh, excellent. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Okay, so we've made a lot of offers lately, and they're not bad offers. But what I'm finding is when we reach out to these people, um, there's a lot of like what I call in my mind like paralysis, like of they're they're in a bad situation, obviously. We know this, right? So this offer is like, look, you can pay off your debt and you can walk away with some money, right? And logically, most people would be like, okay, well, there's something for me there. And what I'm finding is a lot of these people, like they're in denial, like they just don't even want to deal.
Okay. So, first of all, I have a third book written that's not published yet on maneuvering in a distressed market. Okay. It
Okay.
goes through all the psychological process when dealing with a distressed homeowner and how to have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, you're presenting the offers, and I'm assuming you're presenting them directly to the pre-foreclosure clients, right?
Yes,
The
yes.
sellers,
Right,
right? I'm assuming they're not listed,
right,
correct?
right,
Right. You're going directly to the distressed homeowners. So
right,
you need training on how to get psychologically into that distressed homeowner's head and figure out what they need, how did they get here, and make them feel like you're on their side.
right. And how, I mean, and again, I would love to read the book, but I also don't want to wait that long to read the book.
No,
So,
no, no. In Agent Accelerate, my group coaching agents already have all of those chapters, and I read them out loud for them as well, so they could listen to them in the car, as well as the marketing strategies on my door knocking team. We procured 26 listings in 2.5 months in Florida before I moved to Arizona with distressed homeowners, where I had all of the investor buyers on the other side.
mm,
Okay.
okay.
So my system for that conversation is solid because I built foreclosure departments in law offices for 10 years in Florida and ran their entire departments.
And
Yeah, no,
Miriam,
I
that's
want
what
it.
she's saying is it's not a one sentence
It's
No,
not
no,
a
no,
one
here.
I
sentence.
get,
It's
no, and
it's a
I know.
Yeah.
series of it's a sequence of a conversation to get them to understand that you really are on their side and you're trying to get them out of their negative situation and what's the alternative.
Okay, so if I go like are these conversations that you've already had in Accelerate on video anywhere that I can just pop in and watch or pay to watch or what
So,
how do I get access, in other words?
okay. So Sherry, give her my phone number, please.
Okay.
So you can text me and I'll get you in and then I'll tell you exactly where the modules are for that. Okay.
Cool. Thanks. I
Because
appreciate
it
that.
gives you the marketing strategies to get them to call you back. It gives you the marketing strategies to get the investors so that you have a plethora of investors. It also teaches you about all of the predators out there that are targeting distressed homeowners and why they're not trusting you because those people have already contacted them and they don't know who to trust.
Right. Right. Yeah, all
Okay.
this makes sense. Like what you're saying absolutely makes sense. And I will reach out to you. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And we can have other conversations about that as well. Okay, for
So,
sure.
Michelle, can you unmute? I never know if she's there. Michelle,
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry.
are you not dressed yet? I want to see your face.
I'm in my workout clothes.
Okay, I know, and
This
Yeah,
is
I know.
back from workout. But I do wanted to ask Tina about my situation.
Please, because
Is that
Michelle's got like four of them. Go ahead.
well, the one that I'm supposed to talk to the seller today is the one that I had to take off. We withdrew it from the market because we were not getting any showings at all. So she agreed to take it off the market, and then the listing expires tomorrow. So we're gonna do a brand new listing, but I'm gonna have the conversation today about the price. She doesn't have to sell. She just would like to downsize and move closer to her son. But she doesn't want to lose too much on the property. She says, I don't have to sell. I don't want to go lower than 450. And right now, everything, all the three twos in that neighborhood are going for way less than that.
How
Okay,
much?
let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Does she have to sell in order to move closer to her son?
She does, but she doesn't, it's not a must do. She would like to, but only if she gets the right.
No, that's not what I'm asking. She has to sell it in order to move. She needs to
Yes,
leave the
yes,
house.
yes.
Okay. And has she told you the number that she needs to net?
She says, so she doesn't look at that. And that's what I'm trying to tell her. And I even send her net sheets with different numbers. And she says, well, I don't care about the bottom line. All I care is that I sell it for 450. And she has that number. I'm not going lower than that. And she doesn't really look at the bottom line. And I've talked to her about it. You see, you would net this. I even told her, listen, if you have a number that you have in mind, just let me know and we see how we can work it out. But she's not, she's just set on that 450. She doesn't want to go lower than that. And I had to have that conversation today because we're about to go back into another listing agreement.
Okay, so since the time that you've had it listed, what is the data in that area within a 1 mile radius? What have the prices done in that area?
Oh, they lower significantly. It was in
Great.
October.
Great. So you got to hit a pain point. And those of you that know me know that I love to create pain so that I can fix the pain. So you're going to have to hit a pain point. So Ed over there is dying over me. I love to create pain because then I can fix the pain. Okay. So there is
Okay.
a pain point there. You're going to need to make her feel that pain point. That pain point is going to be what either gets her out of her head or lets you know to stop wasting your time. Okay.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to compile all the data. You're going to sit down in front of her. Now, here's the two pieces of data that I want you to have. I want you to have the data from when you guys actually listed and what the properties were doing. And I want you to have the data of today and what the properties were doing. I want you to know how long everything was on the market back then and how long everything is on the market now. I want you to know how many properties have had price drops in that neighborhood in the last 3 months and how much of a price drop they've had in their listing. I want you to know exactly what has sold in the neighborhood in the last 3 months compared to when you guys listed. I want you to sit down with her and say, okay, I need to show you what's going on in your area. This is very important. Now, whatever you decide to do with this information is up to you. But I have to present you the facts. So here's when we listed, this is where we were. Okay, this is what prices we're doing. That's why we listed where we did. And I understand that you really want that number. Well, since then, what has sold in your neighborhood is this. These are the price points. So let's say when you listed it, things were selling at 450. Now things are selling at 400. You're going to look at her and you're going to say, so basically, because we have not lowered the price. You have now officially lost $50,000 in value in that amount of time. Would you agree that that's a lot of money to lose in that amount of time? Get her to agree with you. So if we put it on the market still at that price and prices continue to come down, how much more do you think in value you will lose?
Okay.
Then you're going to say, so if getting to your son is important to you, we're either going to have to adjust the price or that dream of living near your son isn't going to happen.
Okay.
Shut your mouth. Let her process it. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. This is
Pain
great.
point. Pain point. Sometimes we have to hit those pain points to snap them back into reality. People have the fear of loss, right? Sherry says fear of missing out. It's not just fear of missing out. Fear of loss is the strongest emotion that dominates buying and selling decisions. Right now, she's in control. You have allowed her to be in control. And what I tell all of my students is in every transaction, it is either somebody's going to be in control the whole time. It's either going to be the customer controlling you, or it's going to be you controlling them. You have to set the stage from the beginning that you are the one in control. You are the professional. You are the expert, and you are there to help them get out of their own way. You dominate from the beginning, but in subtle ways to show that you are the one in control. Right now, you have a seller who's controlling you. So now you have to snap her into reality with pain.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to definitely do this.
Okay.
And you
Who
have to
else?
report back. We want to know,
Yes. We want to
you know,
know.
we want to know,
Yes.
and I'll tell everybody too. Please,
I
I wish you
will.
good luck.
Thank you.
Tina, so here's in my other groups too, we're talking about this. A lot of now, some agents, we all want business. You know what? I'm going to rephrase that. It doesn't even matter if you're new or you only have one deal. We all want more business. So it doesn't matter. And a lot of us are, this is what we're talking about in my other groups. You have to take motivated sellers and motivated buyers. So for sellers, job loss, relocation, someone passed away, unfortunately, divorce, and there's a fifth. I always forget the fifth, like a massive reduction in not a job loss, but maybe salary or whatever, decrease.
Reduction in income. Those are all hardships, right? But
So
then
they
you
have to,
also have, the people that I have a seller right now who wants to buy because they're increasing their family size and the mother moved in to help with the kids. And they have realized that their home is just not big enough for the mom to live there, the baby, them, and another child on the way. That is a huge motivating factor. That is an emotional reason why they need more space. They feel like they're on top of each other.
okay, so
There
buyers
has to be
too,
an emotional reason.
right, and buyers too, we have to have reasons not, and again, remember, a lot of people disagree with me with this, but if I were to move, I would spend a day in a different neighborhood, wherever it is, without having my house on the market to just look to see what it is, because where am I going to live? I'm not just going to put my house on the market and then, go look. So I still take those people out. And of course, what happens is they fall in love with the home. Their house is not even on the market yet. And, that's a problem. But I'll still take those people out. Go back to the psychology though. What do we do with those people who want to list their home? Okay. But they don't have, like you're saying, like someone had, like someone said before, or like Michelle said, she would like to, but she doesn't have to sell. I don't want to turn down a listing. But when you have unrealistic prices or they're just not exactly motivated, I don't want to let that go. What do you think about that
Why do you
situation?
not want to let it go? Let me ask you guys a question, okay? Do you want to be known as the realtor that has overpriced listings that nobody wants that are sitting on the market forever?
Of course not. But guess what? It sold. It took me 7 months, but it sold.
It did so. But how much frustration did it cause for you?
How much money did it cost me?
Right. So I want you guys to weigh out all of these things, okay? I am very clear with my sellers in the beginning. One of the things that I do to set the stage with them is when I go over for their free no obligation home evaluation, because I never call it a listing appointment. Okay. When I go over for their free no obligation home evaluation, which takes all of the pressure off of them so that they will actually open up to me. That's my first cue. Okay. Of honing them in that I'm in control. So I get there. And then when I'm sitting with them, we're talking about, okay, what's your end game? But in before that, I let them know, okay, so before I actually present numbers to you, I want to know what your end game is so that I can make sure we're a good fit. I may not be a good fit for you. You may not be a good fit for me. I'm taking myself off of the table. They always look at me in that moment and they're like, really? Like, why would I not be a good fit for you? They don't hear that I might not be a good fit for them. They only hear that they may not be a good fit for me.
And you said it second, which also I was listening to you. So that follows in line with your other theory is you tell them what you want them to do second, right?
100%. And I say to them, well, the reason I say that is because right now we're seeing sellers like in 2008 where everybody wants this much money for their property, but guess what? The buyers, the consumers aren't willing to pay that right now. They're savvy, they want deals. So I'm going to present the numbers to you and then we're going to have a real conversation about that. Because I am a performance-driven agent that expects to sell your property. So if at the end of the day we can't come to terms with where I believe the property should be listed to actually get it sold for you, then we're going to agree that we're not the right fit. And then I will refer you to somebody that's okay with your property sitting on the market.
Can you say the rest? I'm typing it because I forgot this from the last time. I am a
Recorded
performance.
this.
What?
You
Oh yeah, I'm an
recorded.
idiot. Great. Now the whole world knows I'm an idiot. Okay, good. Yeah, because you said that last time. I'm a performance-driven agent.
Performance-driven agent that expects to sell your property. And guys, I have also done this. I love to create that pain point. Okay. And they're like, when I present numbers to them and they're looking at it and they're like, well, I don't want to list it for that. Okay. What did you have in mind that you wanted to list it for? Well, I wanted to, like for Sherry, I wanted to list it at 900. Okay. And you know what? If you would have called me 9 months ago, I probably could have sold it for that. But you didn't, and we're here today. And this is what your property is worth today.
It's-
That's a pain point, guys.
Yeah.
If you would have called me 9 months ago, yeah, I could have got you $50,000 more for your property. But because we're here today, this is what your property is worth. How much more are you willing to lose by waiting? Now, that's a closing question. And I want you guys to understand the difference. Throughout, I do soft closes. At the end, when I'm hitting a pain point, I'm going to close them on that pain point. And I'm going to say to them, how much longer are you going to wait and continue to lose money? 9 months ago, did you ever imagine that you would have already lost $50,000 by now. What's it going to be like 6 or 9 months from now? The longer we sit on the market, the more of a chance it is that you're going to lose more. Because guess what? Those interest rates aren't coming down anytime soon. Which means buyers are going to continue to dwindle. And that's going to affect your price. But what I'm saying is true. And I want you guys to hear me on that. When I'm presenting hard, cold facts that are painful, they are actually hard, cold facts. They are not myths. They are not opinions. It is all on paper. I have everything I need to back it up. So they have no choice but to look at me and go, guys, I did this. Okay. So I did this. I went to a listing appointment with one of my agents. They bring me in a lot because they don't know that, like, they're scared to have these conversations. And when I have these conversations with people, my team members like put this invisible shield around themselves because they're so scared that somebody's going to flip out and yell or like kick us out. And they never do. They appreciate the honesty. I can feel it. They're like, Zhoo. As soon as they see me go into mode, they're like, oh crap. So I was with one agent. We were at a listing appointment and the seller was giving me a hard time about the price. He was like, well, I want this for my property. And I'm like, I completely understand that you want that for your property. And you know what? If you would have called me a year ago, I could have gotten that for you. But you didn't, and we're here now. This is what your property is worth today. And I can't even promise you that it's going to be worth that 2 months from now. Now, I want you guys to hear that sequence. If you would have called me a year ago, I would be able to list it for that. But you didn't, and now we're here. And today, I'm giving you what it's worth, but I can't promise you that in 1 to 2 months, it's still going to be worth that. So how much are you willing to lose while you're continuing to wait? He's like, okay, we'll list it at that. And like, so when is it going to be on the market? It was that urgency. I was like, well, I could have it on the market as early as this Friday. He goes, great. What do we do? Well, we have a listing agreement in the car. I can go get it if you'd like. They both signed right then. It happens all the time, guys. I have a 96.6% close rate on my listings at what I want to price them at. I don't have people fight me at the end of the day. But they also can't fight me because of the eye contact. Like, I do not lose that focus with them. And I am in total control the entire time. And in the other, 3.4% that don't list with me, it's because we couldn't come to terms and I didn't take their listing. They wanted me to list. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm a performance-driven agent that expects to sell your property. I can refer you to somebody that's willing to sit on it at that price. I'm happy to do that. Usually agents that are willing to sit on that price don't really have a lot going on and they just want their name on something. Would you like one of their names? Ed is dying over there.
I'm dying. Ed doesn't know you. This is the first time he's ever met you.
Yeah, I love it. I'm drinking it all up.
I'm freaking out. I'm like, I can't say that.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You have to be strong because otherwise you're wasting your time, you're wasting your effort, you're wasting your money. And those are time and money that you could be working with 5 other customers. You should not just want your name on a listing sign. You actually want to sell it.
Yep.
So you're a performance-driven agent that expects to sell their property. And I've looked at people and I've said, you know what? I'm a performance-driven agent that expects to sell your property, and I definitely cannot sell it for that. And I can sell pretty much anything, but not at that price. And that's when I go into, if you would have called me a year ago, I would have said all day long. But it's not worth that anymore. It's worth this.
All right. So what, I have a little different problem. I've already mastered all of that. It's me who's the problem because of the
There's
fear
no
that I
experience
have.
with us agents.
What,
What was the fear
what?
that you-
Yeah, it took me 2 years with Tina to get over all of what she's saying. So I don't have that problem anymore. Now the problem is me. I'm afraid, I guess we have to go through this, Tina. I'm afraid that they're going to get mad at me because I price it too low. But now because it's worth it. So this is I know what's going on the market like for real now. So my next listing, I am going to have to price it lower than, and I'm going to say all those things that you said, and I can use the examples of these other ones.
Well,
You
but
know,
wait, hold on, let's step back.
hmm.
When you said you're afraid, what are you afraid of? You're afraid that they're going to get mad at you because you listed it too low?
Well, no, when I no, when I ever had the confrontation with somebody where I know their house, let's say I thought their house was worth 850, okay, and they thought it was 899. I have no fear of telling them that it's priced 850. None at all, because I know it's worth 850. And I'm like, look, if you think I'm pricing it too low, then we'll have a stampede and we'll have a bidding war and you'll get what you wanted anyway. People will outbid one another. And they always say to me, oh, okay, so let's go with usually it's not that drastic. Let's say 500,000 or 525 and I get them to do 499. Like let's use that. That's a better example because because there is a difference and I notice this all the time. There's a difference between 499 and 525 and we get offers at 499 and usually it's what we want at 525 anyway. So or 599 and 625, et cetera. You get the gist. It's just that now I think it's me. I think it's worth more. And if I hired an appraiser, which I usually do, I haven't done it in this cycle of this market, is I hire an appraiser, have them hire an appraiser, or have them hire an appraiser and I'll reimburse them at the end. But I don't do that anymore because they'll appraise it for 915,000, which I know. And I'm just afraid if I said to them initially now again 850, that and watch what happens. The last three deals I've done, the buyer has paid what they want. We're in contract, thank God, and I got these people to sell their home. It's over appraised every single time. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my God, like
But
that's
it doesn't
the
matter. It doesn't
I
matter if
know.
it increases. What matters is what consumers are willing to pay.
I know. And if you remember back to real estate school, they used to say, and if anybody's newer and remember or just remembers this, what is the value of the home? It's not market value. Market value versus whatever was house is worth what the public is willing to pay. Unless you're doing a refi. I've told people who don't have to move, I'm like, do a refi for many reasons, and we can go into that another time. I'm like, your house is going to appraise for 925 for a refi for sure, but you're not going to sell it for that.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. And listen, if you're going based off of facts of what consumers are willing to pay in a neighborhood,
Yeah,
you're just presenting facts. That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
right.
And when you're closing them, when you're getting them to agree, right? When you're doing a tie down, as we call it in sales training, is when you say to them, okay, so based on what consumers are willing to pay in your neighborhood, all of the homes that were under this price point are the ones that are actually going under contract. All of them over that price point are sitting there. What does that tell you?
Right.
You're letting them give you their opinion based on the facts. Makes your job a lot easier. Because how
Yeah.
can they refute facts?
Correct.
So there's nothing to be afraid of. You're telling them what consumers are doing. You're not giving your opinion. You're giving them facts.
Does anybody listen, it's a rare opportunity that we get, Tina. Does
And I'm
anybody
gonna
have
get up this early for you guys.
I know, thank you that we have her at this time. She has Zooms twice a week, which for a month you're allowed to go to for free. After that, we could talk. Mondays at what time is it now? 3 and 6?
Mondays in Florida, it's at 3, and on Thursdays, it's at 6.
Okay, so she is in
Yeah.
the one of two states that doesn't time change, so pisses me off, but whatever.
However, your guys' time now will be set. Arizona will change next time it changes. We will change our time.
Oh, okay, cool. So anybody have anything while we have her?
Any other questions? It doesn't even have to be about this. What do you need?
It's not really a question. I just wanted to say I really miss listening to you talking. I am a stubborn-headed person and I do not listen to many people at all. You can ask my husband. And for some reason, when you speak, I actually listen. And for you, it's a huge difference because, again, I am wicked stubborn. So, yeah, Cher, I gotta touch bases with you for this because I didn't, it's almost like you don't realize you miss something until it's gone. And not hearing the things in the process that you go through makes such a big difference. So yeah, sure, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
So, and those of us that are on here, so here's the deal. So I have the Missing Piece Alliance group and my jam is contracts, right? So that's my thing. So I love that I finally realized too, I don't have to be good at everything and I'm allowed to ask Tina these questions too and not worry that everyone, oh, Sherry does. Of course I know what I'm doing, but I'm in the same boat you guys are. But again, I always say no one can beat me on a contract or negotiation. So that's my lane.
Why she is my team's contract coach.
Right. Christopher Nolan, some of you are on Christopher's team that are here, and some of you hear him. He is a man. He is completely straight-laced to the fact. And, that's another way of looking at it. And then I love to incorporate Tina because Chris goes into psychology also, but Tina, I always say this, I'm going to say it again, and it's being recorded. The irony, whenever Tina talks about a topic on Monday, Christopher follows up on Tuesday with this. It's just coincidental. I think because we're all dealing with
In
this.
line. Chris and I talk and we're completely in line and we don't even plan it that way. We just present it differently and you have
which
to
I
pick
like.
what resonates with you the best.
Right. And I pick things from Tina and I take things from Chris and I take things from my Tuesdays, Thursdays with Trish and mix them all up together and then tell you guys everything. So, no, I'm glad you were here. And Tina, I just want to say thank you. And, again, if you guys, Tina, can you put your phone number in the chat for me? Thank you. Like I said, Tina allows everybody to come for a month. And then after that, it's minimal, especially if you say you're with me. I really highly recommend. I don't like agents spending money in 5 different directions, but take it for what you want. I just find Tina very valuable. And I have come a long way. Yeah, after all these years of doing real estate, I finally threw my hands in the air and Sheila decided that I had to start listening to someone. So very similar to you. Michael, you always have words of wisdom. Give us something. You're sort of frozen, but
There are two things that I just always take away. You get what you pay for. So I think there's no price for what you get with Tina all the time. It's a book of knowledge and then wisdom, and especially, by the way, Tina, remember the famous list that the guy called me yesterday that he had the list ready for me on his office to start picking it up.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
I will sit down next week. I'm gonna go and pick it up. And I will sit down with Sherry and you to see how we can, because this is a huge list that he has, to see how we can all benefit and send it to people, and then how we can all benefit from this and help people.
Okay. So any of you that are interested in joining Agent Accelerate, right now it's an online platform. I will be building it into an app platform very soon. We're working on that now. But you can have 1 free month access because you're a part of Sherry's group and you are a part of this. I don't give that out to anybody else any longer, but for Sherry's group, I will. And then after your 1 month, it's only $97.50 a month. You guys get 2 Zooms a week with me. We talk about the market as it is today. We do mindset. My agents in that group are very, very focused. So just text me and I can send you the link with your coupon code to get your free month. Okay? It's been a pleasure, guys. I love my Florida people.
We
Bye.
really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you, Tina. Is
Let's
Marjolisa still
go.
here? Marjolisa, can you stay after? Let me stop recording.
No problem.